And good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are tuned in from. Welcome to another episode of What Now? I have a great guest today, a producer, and we're just going to wait until he's in here. Nobody's in here anyway. So I'm going to just pin this comment and hope everyone is doing well. What is today? Today is Monday. It's Monday, another week. It is actually Blue Monday today, so it's supposed to be the most depressing day of the year. I actually had a good day. I'm tired, but I had a really good day, so I'm not complaining about this Monday. I hope everybody else had a good day. And I can't wait to talk to my inspiring and motivational guest today, which is Drawzilla, and he's already in the building. So let me get him in here, and we can get this started. He has a bunch of production credits to his name, great producer, and there we go. What's up?
Hey, can you hear me all right?
Huh?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly fine. I see you fine. So
Good.
let's hope it stays like that. But
right.
We should be good. Thank you for wanting to be a guest.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad people are coming in. It was, you know what? It's so crazy because I met you so long ago. I'm so bad with years and dates, especially when I meet people online. But It's been a good minute. I think it was MySpace or something.
Like 10 years, right?
Something like that? At least, if not more. And then it's insane because we kind of lost touch because, life, everybody's doing their things.
Right.
And I read about you in Jay's book. And so I was like, oh my gosh, so I bought his book like a while ago. And then I guess I got in touch with him through my lives last year. Because I didn't know him, and so that all tied in, and I was like, oh, let me hit up Drawzilla. And yeah,
no, I remember that time because I remember talking to you online back then. So it's been a minute now.
It's been a minute, and I'm happy you remember me. I mean, I guess there's only one pay.
Definitely.
And so that I definitely appreciate that. I mean, I don't ever assume people, have some type of impression of me. You meet so many people in this industry.
Absolutely.
But I'm so happy I get a chance to talk to you now because I definitely want to know what you've been up to. And, you were already doing great things back then. You're working with some people that I was, familiar with. So, me as a hip hop fan, I was just, I was very intrigued.
Well, again, thank you for having me. You have a lot of great relationships. I've watched a lot of your interviews, so I'm very, very impressed with that.
Oh, thank you.
Right.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that I'm not an artist. I'm not a, producer. I'm basically a person in Amsterdam that just built out her hobby from a passion for hip hop and music.
Right.
And, I cultivated those relationships over the past 20 years. And I'm very grateful for them because right now I can motivate and inspire people by using those relationships, not necessarily to monetize or, or to get up, but this is just for me a way of giving back to artists that are now struggling or are having a hard time, but also connecting people because I've connected a lot of people through these lives. So I'm very, very excited about that. So thank you for acknowledging that. Nobody does that.
Definitely.
Yeah. And, I've always had a love for producers, as you know. I wrote several articles about producers with input from several producers, such as Eric Sermon, Pasta News. Who else did I have? I had like a whole bunch of people. And so I've always been fascinated by the production of music. And I always felt like producers didn't get enough credits back then. Now it's a whole different ball game almost because producers are artists themselves.
Right.
So I want to get into that a little bit later, but I want to first of all address what I made this live for. So this was to inspire and motivate people that are stuck in this pandemic, not, having a creative block, so to speak. How has the pandemic affected you personally and professionally?
Yeah. Well, I mean, truth be told, man, the only way that it really affected me is, as you know, a lot of people know, I run a business. I run a recording studio. So, my ability to be able to work with artists is always, a physical, situation, physical chemistry. So, you know, people have to physically be in the studio in order to, you know, catch the vibe and really work. So when this thing first happened, I literally was shut down for about, I would say about 8 weeks. And it was really tough.
Yeah.
No one was in here. There was a lot of fear going on. So we really didn't understand what this thing was all about. So
right.
I would say that that's really the only way that it really affected me. It affected me business-wise at first. But I'll be honest with you, creatively, I peaked. Like, I was in here by myself making some hit records. I mean, I probably recorded back then more times than I ever have in the last 10 years. So,
and, you know, a lot of producers that I talk to, they usually are in their little zone, you know, in their studio. So for them, it's less of an impact because you don't really tour unless you're a DJ as well. But
that's right.
Yeah, most of the people that are producers have said the same thing. I mean, even Eric Sermon said the same thing. He's just been in his little studio. So
hooped up.
Yeah.
As if there was a long snowstorm.
Right. Hibernating.
Right. Exactly.
And so 8 weeks, as tough as it was for you, that's still pretty okay compared to a lot of other businesses and a lot of other people. I mean, even touring artists can't tour right now. It's a little bit different in the States than over here because we're literally shut down. There's nothing going on here. And I see people partying in the States and still clubs being open.
Yeah.
But how has it affected you personally?
Personally, it was a little bit tough, man. It was tough just, you know, on a social aspect, not being able to see your friends, not being able to see family. You know, I have family kind of scattered all over the place. So, you know, just the idea of you know, already not seeing them for a while and then can't see them anymore. Like it was very, very tough, man. And then of course, just not knowing what this thing was all about and just seeing friends and family that was close to me that went through it. A lot of people don't know, and this is probably going to be shocking to a lot of people, and you're probably the first one to hear this. I recently just got over COVID.
Wow. Yeah.
Right.
How was it for you? Were you like really sick, or did you have mild symptoms?
No, I knocked them symptoms out in 48 hours.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
I was the thankful one. I will say that I'm very, very thankful for that it didn't, you know, spiral into something that, you know, I couldn't control. So, and I think that just had a lot to do with, you know, just how I've treated my body over the last year and, you know, just staying a little bit more healthy. And even when it hit, you know, not panicking and just saying, all right, let me get to this thing and let me make sure that, you know, I knock it out. So
in quarantine for, you know, you can't obviously be in touch with other people because you have it. Right.
Exactly. So I was away from everyone. I didn't really tell anyone. The only people that really knew was my family and my very close friends. But, you know, it just got to a point where I just had to, you know, just get over it. You know what I mean? Fight it, get over it. But, you know, to answer your question, you know, because of the fact that, you know, for myself and a lot of other people personally, you know, I went through somewhat of a deal, man, just going through the months, because I think what happens is that when you don't have the education of something that's new, there's a lot of fear. You know what I mean? So I think all of us was really fearful. We didn't really know what was going on. And then just to see people that, like my cousin had it for a little while, to see people that are close to me, you know, contracted. It was a tough thing, especially at that time. We're a lot more educated now, so we know what to do. We know how to kind of maneuver now.
Right. Yeah, and also it's exactly like you said, we didn't really know what it was doing. We still don't know what it's doing because we get fed all this fake news and all these different contradicting informations. And so for me, you know, a person that I knew passed away last year, April. That was right in the beginning of it. And so for me, that was really shocking because it was a fairly young person. And nobody knew what was going on. So now coming into 2021, still in a lockdown. Our lockdown just got extended to mid-February. And so we now kind of know what it's doing, but it's still, we don't know what the governments are all telling us, you know. It's this fear mongering. My mom is all anxious and sending all these messages that she's scared, and it's just, it builds up a lot of anxiety on top of the fact that we're all isolated. I mean, I live by myself. I don't have a partner here or whatever. So it's just, man, I'm getting a dog maybe. Like I need some type of interaction and love in this house. But But we're doing
Absolutely.
it all digitally now, and that's not necessarily good for us either. All this LED lights and, you know. So
Yes.
I'm happy to hear that you took care of yourself
Right.
physically to
Yes.
build that immune system, because what's actually crazy is we don't know if we have underlying conditions. Like, we
Right.
can think that we have a good immune system, but we don't know what's going on in our bodies.
That's
That's
right.
pretty much also something that's pretty scary. So all we can do is stay healthy.
That's right.
So what are some of your health routines that you had to change and that you're now kind of, you know, making a habit?
Well, I'm gonna say this. About a year ago, maybe a year and a half, I was going through some real issues with well, I'll tell you what it was later, just to kind of give you a perspective of what happened. But you know, I was having just, you know, these little pains here and there, these sharp pains, you know, all over my body a little bit. And at that particular time, I talked about this recently, that I was eating fast food every day. Like,
wow, that's
every
not
single
good.
day, not understanding what it would do to you. But the fast food was something that I would quote, don't have time to cook, right?
Right,
Because
right,
I'm a
yeah.
producer, you know, and I run a business.
Eat in
So
between, yeah.
right. So I would run to McDonald's, run to Wendy's, run to Burger King, do all of that. And, you know, it just got to the point where that acid and those toxins got to my body,
Yeah.
and it started to create acid reflux.
Oh,
Really,
wow.
really bad. Like, bad, to the point where I had to go to hospital. So
That's, you know what, that's a testimony that, you know, you can't live off of fast food.
that's right. Absolutely not. I stopped doing that years ago, you know, about a year ago, and I don't miss it. I'm not going back to it. I stopped eating beef. I stopped eating pork. I don't drink sodas. I don't do anything that has any type of acidity to it,
Right.
because it does something to me personally. And I think a lot of times when you know your body a little bit and you understand what it does, you have to take care
Yeah.
of that. So, you know, instead of me, you know, preaching about it how I used to, I just say to people, like, just know your body, know
Listen
what your
to your
body can
body.
handle,
Yeah.
right? Know what it can handle, know what it, you know, what it can, and listen to it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And really do something about it. So, you know, I changed it up. I just started, you know, eating a lot more fruits, you know, staying away from a lot of that junk, and I really started to feel better.
Yeah.
So that
You
whole
see, you feel the difference. Yeah.
right, because I used to think that was a myth. Okay, like I used to think, oh, well, you know, you are what you eat, and all of this
Well, we're
nonsense.
also getting older. So what
Right.
I've noticed is that I was okay with all the fast food back then. I even was okay with all the pork and whatever. And now I can't tolerate it anymore.
Not
So
anymore.
it's also getting older and being more aware of, okay, we now really got to figure out how to live longer, because,
Absolutely.
you know, when you're young, your body can handle it easier than when you're older. And
That's
I know a
right.
lot of people are like, you're not that's not the point. My
That's
body is
right.
telling me this. I'm not saying
That's
I'm
right.
old, but yeah.
Right.
And what you
Even
said is also true. Like, the same diets don't go for everybody, because everybody is different.
right.
Literally every body is different. So
That's
listen
right.
to your body. Yeah.
That's right. Even down to the alcohol, because I wasn't drinking every single day, but I was drinking a lot more often. Now, once in a while, you know, maybe a Friday night or Saturday, I
Yeah.
have, you know, one or two, but I've slowed that down a lot. And even like right now, this is lime
Water.
water.
I got water. Yeah.
Lime water.
Lime
A
water.
lot of people don't
Alkaline.
understand
Yeah.
that. Lime water is one of the best things that you can drink every single day. I drink this every day before I before I eat anything in the morning. You know what I mean?
Right.
So just to do small things or small changes, it
So
really
how's
affects.
that? But, you know, lime and any type of I guess an orange fruit or whatever has acidity to it as well. How does your body?
But the thing is, a lot of people don't understand is that those acids are natural acids.
So your
So what
body takes
happens
that
is,
in.
right, what happens is that when it enters into your body, it turns your body alkaline. So
Right.
it's the fake acids, you know
The
what I mean?
artificial ones.
Right,
Yeah.
the stuff that are in foods, that are in meats,
The
that's the ones
processed
that's
foods.
destroying
Yeah.
us. But natural acids is good for us.
Okay.
You know
Well,
what I
thank
mean?
you for teaching those who didn't know. And I do
Definitely.
want to say that a lot of young people are also like, you know, I can bounce back. Well, hey, wait until you're up here with us.
Right. Because I
you
was that one.
I was that one. Like, and
Right.
even now people are like, oh, you can eat anything you want because you don't go fat. It's
No,
one of my, I guess, my superpowers. I don't go fat, but that doesn't mean I want to be unhealthy on the inside, you know,
that's right.
because
That's right.
I got to live longer than just look skinny.
That's right.
Okay, I want to get into a little bit more of your work. What was for you? I know a lot of people may not know your successes. I'm not going to run them all down because it's a whole list. But what was for you your first actual success where you felt like this? Oh, I can live off of production. Like, what was the moment in your life where you were like, oh my gosh, I can do this for a living?
I'll be honest with you. It wasn't necessarily production. It wasn't that. It was me when I decided that I wanted to build a business.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah. Like at first, it's so crazy how life works, man, because, you know, when I first got into music, you know, I loved all my heroes. I loved, you know, D.I.T.C and Sadat
Right.
and, you know, Brand Nubian and, you
Nubian,
know,
yep.
Nice and Smooth. Like I knew all of those guys, you know what I mean? I used to be in the studio with them. I had friends that worked with them, so I was always around them. But, you know, so obviously, you know, I drew a passion for wanting to work with them and wanting to make records with them, and that happened. But at that particular time, I didn't have enough leverage for people to really take me serious to say, I want to lock you in for full projects or, you know, pay you for this, pay you for that. It was really just me chasing a dream because I loved it so much. So I was broke for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And I said, I got to figure out how to make some money.
Right. Did Jay Hatch help you with that?
We gonna get to that.
Okay.
We're going to get to that because that's my brother and I've known him for over 20 years. So that all ties into it. So, and at that time I knew him as well. But, you know, I was just like, I really didn't know where to turn. I didn't really know what to do, but I knew that I was recording artists. I knew that I can record artists. I can mix their records. So what I did was I opened up a studio in my apartment and started charging people to come through to record there while I still had my cooking job. Right. So do it for a couple months, you know. It got to the point where it was a little bit out of control because, you know, the neighbors was knocking on the door and, hey, the music's too loud, blah, blah, blah. to the point, Pay, where they started calling the cops.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
You had no insulation.
No, absolutely not. I didn't care at the time. Too.
Right.
I was very selfish back then. Let me make that clear as well. I was very selfish. I didn't care about anybody else. I just wanted to do music and I wanted to record people and I wanted to make some money. But then I woke up and I realized, all right, either you're going to do this for real or you're just going to keep doing what you're doing and get kicked out. Either or. Yeah. You know? So and
then you're going to lose your house, your living space. Right. So yeah.
Exactly. So I got with some business partners at the time that already had a space and I linked with them and we was able to, you know, run a recording studio. And that's when I said, you know what, I'm going to quit my job because I feel like that this is at a point where I could really sustain because I knew everybody in my community. Right. Everybody that did music, I already knew them. I already recorded them.
They were going to come through. They knew to refer you, you know, your studio. Yeah.
Right. So when they found out that I had a space and then they came to the space and they saw that it was, you know, nice, it was clean, it was, you know, spacious, you know, then is when the clientele really start to come through.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I literally was making twice more money doing that than when I had a regular job.
That's
insane. An everyday thing. So that really began me just diving into the music a lot more, of really sustaining myself so I can take care of my bills, I can take care of myself, and at the same time produce the records for the Maino and you know, Uncle Murda and all that other stuff. So it was that was the real transition. So a lot of people think that it was the production that got me to where I was, but it really wasn't.
This is really interesting because obviously when we first met, I didn't know that. I just knew you as a producer. I mean, I knew you had your own recording studio. A lot of producers do, but I like this story because now this tells me that you created your business first before you started actually working in your own business. because that's really what you've been doing. Like you just became an asset in your business.
Absolutely.
So how did you tie that all in? Like, okay, you set up your business, a recording studio, everybody's coming through. How did you start producing? And because you have to have the skills, obviously. So, I mean, most of those people started when they were young, they were playing the drums or whatever. So how was that for you?
So I guess what happened, because of the fact that I started out wanting to do production, I really, you know, got my craft in order, you know what I mean, to just make records just in general. So that when I did have the studio and I had some time, you know, my little time off between clients or whatever, I would work on music, and then I would reach out to a lot of those artists at that time and send them music.
Right.
So it would be either two things: either they would record it where they were at and then send me vocals, or they would come to my studio.
Yeah.
You know.
So when you were facilitating the space, the recording space, were you engineering for them, or were you okay? Because I was like, okay, you have a building, there's a studio, everybody comes in there, but what are you doing? So you were basically engineering.
There was three of us, so we had three rooms. So a front room, a middle room that was more of a production room. There was a producer at that time, and then my room.
Okay.
You know, so, and in my room, that's when, you know, a lot of my clients that already knew about me, already recorded with me, came through, and I would record. I would mix their records, you know, master their songs, do everything that we needed to do to put projects out. But at that particular time, though, I would say about 90% of the time, it wasn't my production. It was always
that's what I was thinking.
Right. It was always them getting something off of YouTube, or they had their own producer.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's how that all happened.
Okay, so then you started producing. What made these people actually, well, these names want to get your production? Did you already have that leverage of having a recording studio and the names that you knew? Was it easier for you to just put out your new productions to those people because you had the connections?
Well, this is kind of where J Hatch comes in.
Oh, okay.
Because during that time, me and Jay, we would do talent showcases in the city. So we would do artist showcases, producer showcases. So that's how I was able to build my network, because I would be DJing these events and I would do the sound for these events. So all of the artists had to come see me. Right.
So you build those relationships.
All the producers had to come see me. Yo, Zilla, here's my at that time CDs, right?
Right.
Here's my CD. You know, I got 5 tracks on it. Blah blah blah. Okay, fam, what's your name? Oh, my name is blah 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 blah. Yeah. Okay, and then as we continue doing these shows, they would come back, and I would establish a rapport with all of them. So I literally, to be honest with you, I can say that I probably have about, and I'm not even exaggerating, anywhere between 200 to 300 producers that I know personally that are good friends of mine.
Wow. And so basically, if they come with the CDs, you weren't even DJing. You were just stop, play for next track.
I would DJ the event for when people would come in. And then once the event started, I would play their music. Right.
I can do that. I don't have to be producer for that. Okay, so fast forward. Who was your first big artist that you produced? For you personally, not necessarily for the audience or the public, but for you, in your opinion, like, oh my gosh, I'm producing for this person.
Right. I would say Sadat X from Brand Nubian.
Really? I know Sadat. Yeah.
I would say Sadat.
I know him from that time I met you.
Right. So Sadat came to, at that particular time, I had a studio that I was working out of in Brooklyn. So Sadat came through with a couple people, and, you know, he had me play some tracks, you know, this, that, and the third. And it just got to the point where he just enjoyed the music, you know, we just enjoyed the vibe. And I just started working with him. And that was the first time that I kind of looked at, like, what a producer really is, you know, because, you know, just giving somebody a beat is just a totally different thing. So when I'm in a studio with Sadat and recording him, that was the first time somebody said to me on that caliber, what do you think? And I'm
right,
like,
they're actually collaborating. Like you can give your input, you can create a
right,
sound together. Yeah,
right.
that's
And I'm saying,
actual production.
I'm saying to myself, what do I think? Like, you're Sadat
It's
X.
your music. Yeah, it's your song.
Right. I didn't get that. I didn't get
Right.
that. But then I'm like, you know what? Yeah, he has every right to ask me that because I'm the producer.
Yeah, he doesn't
You know?
know
Right.
necessarily what the sound
Right.
should sound like or what's a better sound for him. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So it just slowly got to that point where, you know, I understood that. So, you know, after Sadat, it was AG, it was OC. That's where D.I.T.C really comes
Right.
in, because, you know, they were the ones who really gave me my first break. Shout out to D
Yeah.
Flow. D Flow from Ghetto Dwellers. D Flow is part of Ghetto Dwellers with Party Artie. You know, rest in peace, Party
Right.
Artie. But at that time, D Flow was the one who introduced me to everybody. He introduced me to the show, you know, to AG,
Right. Yeah.
and I met, you know, Lord Finesse and the whole crew. But yeah, so I think at that time, you know, Sadat, AG, you know, OC, those were the main ones that I was really like at all. Like,
Yeah.
wow. You know what
They
I mean?
gave you your first real production credits, so to speak.
They gave me my
Yeah.
first break.
And how was, because you know it's interesting because I was on Clubhouse just earlier before this live, and I was in a room full of producers. I mean, Ninth Wonder was in there.
Nice.
Just a whole bunch of people, and so they're all talking about production. They're all talking about what to charge for beats, and it was a whole discussion. And so for you getting put on by Sadat X and, you know, D.I.T.C and them, how was that for you as far as and we're gonna this is a little start for where I want to go to. Did you get like a flat fee, or did you already get like production royalties or a cut? Like how was that for you?
Well, I mean, it was different situations. At that time, it was tough because these guys were a little bit more independent and they weren't in position to be able to create budgets for their projects.
Right.
So
you had to get a percentage. You had to get a cut.
Right. So a lot of times I didn't really get paid up front. I didn't get an advance fee.
No flat fees and yeah.
No. I mean, there was a few times where I did, but the majority of the time it really wasn't like that. And we would just negotiate our splits, you know, at the end of the day to make sure that you know, that was covered.
Right.
You know what I mean? But as far as, you know, any type of, you know, advanced royalty, that wasn't really happening at that time.
It's still not happening much for independent artists.
It's worse now.
Exactly. And
it's
we were just
worse.
In the room, they were talking about split sheets, and half of these independent new producers don't even know what split sheets are. And that's a problem. Like,
but Pay, we gotta kind of blame the internet for that, man.
Yeah. Because they
I don't mean
sell beat packages and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't mean necessarily in a terrible way, but I think because all of the producers are online now and people are giving out free beats and there's more access to beats now, you know, people aren't paying for tracks anymore. What they're doing is they're collaborating with these producers and saying, if something happens, then we'll negotiate a pub deal.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
and but that comes also, especially now in the Corona times, from the fact that you can't create together in the studio. Nobody's looking to create. There's, you know, we have writing camps and stuff where you put the artists and the producers and the writers together and create a song. That's where the split sheets come in. But now it's just like, I need a beat. I'm just going to look online. I got a nice beat. And so you know, and I don't want to brag here, but I have an ear for music. I did radio and everything. I've been in this game. So I can tell when somebody is rhyming or singing over a, you know, a cookie cutter beat, or when it's an actual production that is created and customized towards the sound of the artist. And that also depends on if the producer has a good ear for the sound of the artist, or if they're just making something that they think fits. There's even a difference in that. And again, I'm not a producer, but I've been in this game enough. I've worked with enough producers and artists, and I was even an artist. Nobody knows this. I used to rap 5 lifetimes ago, and I was even on a tour in this country 5 lifetimes ago. But nobody's ever gonna hear my shitty music. So, but that was good for my experience. And So yeah, I definitely agree with you on blaming the internet, and now it's only going to get worse because you can't have writing sessions over Zoom or Skype. I mean, we try, but it's
Right.
still hard. It's still
It's
hard.
not the same. It's
No.
definitely not the same.
And
You know, it's
and
not
I
the same.
I want to go towards what I was starting our conversation with. When you came up, and even the people before you as a producer, the producer was the person that made the music. You know, you had to struggle to get your money if you're independent. And now it's like producers are artists on their own. They're at the forefront of everything. You know, we come from an era where you look at the vinyl and the CD booklets to see the
Right.
credits of the musicians and the producers.
Right.
And I can't read that anymore because Spotify doesn't always have all the credits, or the credits aren't given because it's
Right.
not a together production.
Right.
So what are your or opinions about the fact that it shifted from being a musician and producer to being an artist as a producer?
I mean, look, I don't have any problem with it because I did the same transition. You know, I
So
understand
you're
what
now
it,
an artist? You're branding yourself as an artist?
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it that, but a lot of my friends do. So I guess it is what it is.
No,
Like,
no, no.
you know,
No, see, this is what I'm asking you. Are you now branding yourself more as an artist as well, other than just a
abs
producer? Okay.
absolutely, Pay. I'm not gonna
Yes.
even I'm not gonna even front. I'm
No, no,
not gonna even lie.
it's just a
I
question.
have to.
Yeah. Yeah,
I have to.
exactly. You
Right.
have to. You feel like you
Right.
have to, even if you don't want to.
Right.
And is that
Even though I love production and I love to be behind the scenes and I love working with other artists, but I think a lot of times what's happening now is you don't really get that same feeling that you used to anymore with a lot of these artists, man. A lot of these
right?
artists are, and no disrespect, and I want to be
No,
very
I
clear on this.
understand.
A lot of these artists are very entitled. They feel like, you know, they do what they do, and you know, no one can really tell them anything. So
Right.
it just gets to a point where I really just have a selected few people that I really feel good about
Yeah.
that I work with. But other than that, you know, I do a little bit of singing, I do a little rapping, I do a little, I do hooks and all of that.
Right.
So
You
I
get it
might as
all
well just do
around.
it.
And
Right.
do you play instruments as well?
I do somewhat. I play a little bit of piano, but I'm not as trained as I should be.
You
You know
have
what I
all the
mean?
time
But
now.
right. But just having that, yeah, you're right about that. But just having the ear of just understanding music, I get away with a lot of stuff.
You know what? I love that you're honest about that because, and it's not to knock you because I love you, but I honestly have more respect for producers that play instruments because they can translate the actual sound
Right.
to like digital. And again,
Right.
not to knock you, but I think that
Right.
is a big advantage for producers as well. Like you said, you can
Absolutely.
get away with it, or hire some musicians to come in.
And I was gonna say that too. See, what you gotta understand, not necessarily you, because you know this already,
Right.
but a lot of people gotta understand that being a musician is not being a producer. And
Right.
being a producer is, you know, same thing.
Not exactly.
Like I've you know how many times I've hired somebody, I've hired a bass player, or I've had a pianist come in and hey, listen, I need you to do this. I know what it's supposed to sound like. I know what chords need to be played. I just may not know how to get it as quick as someone else would.
Yes.
So I would tell them, hey, come on in. I wanna collaborate with you. So a lot of the records that I've done in the past where, you know, records that are out and everything, there's a bunch of co-producers on my records. You know what I mean?
So, you make them co-producers, not flat fee, you know, playing, or if they actually contribute to the sound with their own chords.
No. If anyone has collaborated with me, like physically collaborate with me, they get production credit.
That's
you know what I mean?
actually
That's just
great.
how I work. Yeah,
That's a discussion that often am having with producers that have worked with my artists, or even my producers, because I manage a couple of people. And so sometimes it's like, yeah, but they only did this, they only played what I tell them to play, and then they're like, but I added my own thing, so I want, you know, production credits or writer credits or whatever they want instead of the flat fee that they already got. So that's a whole issue too. But I think it's great that you actually do that, and this is something that people have to understand. Like I said, I have more respect for producers that play instruments, but actually it's the same as producers that hire artists or bring in artists, musicians to play it instead of just finding digitally the sounds on their MPCs or whatever they're using.
That's
So
right.
yeah, no,
That's
I
right.
take back what I said. I have respect for anybody that actually creates the actual sound.
That's right.
That's really what it is. That puts the time into creating a great production and not just getting away with a couple of hits on a button on the computer, basically.
That's right. That's right.
So
You gotta know how to get it done, man. That's the bottom line. The producer is the one who puts the record together from top to bottom.
Yeah.
So, that's bringing in the songwriter, that's getting the mix done, that's the mastering, like everything to get the record where it needs to be. So, I mean, look at Quincy Jones, look at Dre, look at all of these guys, man. They bring in people to make sure that the record is totally put together. So anybody, and again, no disrespect to beat makers, but you're not a producer if you just make a beat.
I wrote an article about the difference between beat makers and producers, and that's when I had the input from all these different producers. And again, they didn't knock these people either, but when you talk about leaving a legacy, when you talk about timeless sounds and actual music pieces, that's not what a beat maker does.
That's right.
Know? And I'm not going to say that some type of looped beat can't be timeless. But it's never going to go down in history as an actual piece of art in the music world.
But I think what we have to understand, just to add on to that, is it's never just about the beat. And that's what people don't get. It's never just about the beat. It's about the record.
Yeah.
Right. Who produced the record?
Yeah.
So if you have an art, you can have 5 different songs and 5 different outcomes of what the song is going to be about.
Yeah.
And you have 5 different artists on it. So you can put artist A on the record that sounds horrible on your beat, and the record's going to go nowhere. Or you can put artist Z on it and it'll be a hit record. You know what I mean?
And that's the same thing with, and I've witnessed this with bands. I've managed a rapper for 5 years, and he had his regular band, and we knew the sound, they knew the songs. Then we went to Nashville, and he had to use a different band because we couldn't fly everybody over, and they had to rehearse his songs. And when I heard that for the first time, they put a whole different spin on that same song. But it sounded so different. I was like, I don't know if I like this, because I was so used to the actual sound of the band that we play with. But it also made me feel like, wow, anybody can just put their own spin on it, all the musicians. So you're right. It's how the record produced and what are the sounds that are actually used, because it's for interpretation as well.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So do you feel like you, as an artist, is it harder for you to brand yourself as an artist than when you were just a producer, so to speak?
Oh, definitely is. Absolutely.
What is one of the biggest challenges?
Well, I think one of the main things is really understanding how to really get yourself out there and how to present yourself.
Yeah.
And how to create presence for yourself.
Right.
That's not something that I normally have done. Excuse me, I normally didn't even have to do that at all.
Right.
So, that's tough. That's tough.
Yeah.
And especially when you don't really have the knowledge and the understanding of how social media works and, all the algorithms and all of that stuff. When you don't really, engage into that, you have to find creative ways in order to be able to put certain music out and when to put it out and how to put it out and who to send it to. I'm on my own with it, so it's kind of
that's what I do. I can help you with that.
Oh, well, then me and you gonna talk.
Yeah, we're gonna talk.
Right.
And it's interesting that you say that, because even with all the big names that you have on your resume, that's not going to help you. Like if nobody knows how to find you and who you are, then all those names will be sitting on your resume as always.
That's right.
So do you feel like, working with LL Cool J or Mariah Carey or whoever, do you feel like that did give you a boost in the industry?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's crazy, man, because at that time, a lot of people don't know, but those records happened kind of like by mistake, to be honest with you. I had a connect over at Def Jam, and they were giving me an opportunity to put together a remix for that record.
Right.
So when I did it, they loved it. They ended up putting it out. So that was big for me. And that was what really sparked. This was back in 2008. Right. That's what really sparked the whole, who is Drawzilla? Who is this guy? You know what I mean? And to the point where
there goes Jay.
Huh?
I see
Okay.
Jay
Nova
coming
Status, I
in.
see you. Jay Hatch, what up?
What's
I
up, Jay
seen
Hatch?
I seen DJ Ease in here earlier, man. Shout out to DJ Ease.
And
Shout out to Wavy
Mariko
Boy
was in
too.
here. You know, a whole bunch of people were in here. But thank you
Yeah.
for tuning in.
Yeah, Wavy Wild Boy was in here earlier too. So yeah, so you know, at that time it sparked the whole, you know, who is Drawzilla, and that's what got me my first producer award, because it was
Right.
a producer award show called the UMA Awards, I believe, and I won an award that year, and that's when the attention was on me. Like,
Right.
okay, this guy, you know what I mean? So then from there is when I really started to go hard at really just producing records and really
Right.
getting out there and reaching out to artists and all that other stuff. And I say this all the time, man. Like, you know, we talked about Jay Hatch earlier. When me and him was running around, these stories are just so incredible, man, because when we was running around going to different record companies and trying to get deals and trying to get placements, all of that,
Right.
those were all stepping
stones to, yeah,
to get to the next level. You know what I
right.
mean? And I'm glad we went through that, and I'm glad that we didn't have success with all of that, because it taught me so much. It taught us how to be on our own, how
Yeah.
to maintain ourselves, how to grow our own businesses.
Right.
Because if we would have got all of those things, we would have been relying on
Yeah.
other people to make our dreams happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you
And
also
I don't rely on
appreciate
anybody.
you also appreciate what you've accomplished because you put in the work.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna plug Jay Hatch a little bit right here. So he wrote a book, How to Make It in the Music Industry, how he left his job and made it in the music industry. So cop that book if you don't have it. I read it. It's a real easy read. You can take notes and everything. Drawzilla's in it. So I was like, wow, people I know. But yeah, get the book.
Right.
It really teaches you about the business side of the music industry, which
Great
I think
content.
any artist should also know, just like you ran your business before you became like an actual producer.
Right.
But going back to 2008, when everything started happening with those big names, how did you take advantage of that? Did you grab that moment and ride off and do more for other people? Because how did you get to LL?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, all of these situations happen kind of like on a whim, because, you know, I didn't know any of these people. I wasn't in the studio with L. I wasn't in the studio with Mariah. You know,
it was just the D.I.T.Cs and the Brand Nubians.
Right, exactly. Those are the ones who I really knew. Those,
right.
You know, with Joe and all of them, I met them back then. But, you know, a lot of the bigger placements that I had was more from, you know, an A&R or, you know, an executive at one of the record companies. You know, they were able to kind of maneuver some things and get me some work. You know what I mean? Right. So I was doing a lot of that stuff behind the scenes. And then, you know, eventually it got to their ears and it got to the DJs and all of that. Yeah. So that's how that really all happened. But then after that, you know, to kind of answer your question with that, after that, I really just, again, I really just reached out. I reached out. One thing about me, and I'm still like this to this day, is I'm a go-getter. Like, I don't wait for anybody. I don't wait for an opportunity. I don't wait for somebody to say yes. I don't do none of that. I will get 100 no's, and I have no problem with that. Yeah. Eventually you're going to say yes to me, because I'm passionate about what I do, and I'm always going to be on top of it if I really want something. You know what I mean? So I reached out to Fred the Godson. I reached out to N.O.R.E. I reached out to Uncle Murda, Maino. Every single placement that I have to this day has always been me reaching out to someone that had to connect with this one and this one, even down to Kiss and Sheek Louch and all of them. Shout out to DJ OP. I reached out to their DJ. Yo, OP, listen, I know you don't know who I am, but I got beats. I know that you're Styles P's DJ. Yo, can you, you know, help me out a little bit, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Yeah, got you. And what I also understood is how to make myself valuable to other people.
Right.
So
yes.
I never asked for a favor. What I always did was, anything you need, holla at me.
I got it. Yeah. Now this here, I want to take a moment to address what you said just now. This here is a very important thing for independent artists or producers or whoever's in the industry. relationship building, networking, and then because now that I'm on Clubhouse, I get so many DMs, just links to music. Like, oh, yeah. I'm not even replying to that anymore with my link to how to network. So it's not just wanting something, but also what is your give, what is your value, what are the mutual benefits of a possible collaboration. Establish that before you ask something from somebody.
That's right.
And that's something. And even when you mentioned the relationships that I've built over these past years, and that I still have, is because I went out and got it. I may be in Amsterdam, but I was on this MySpace. I got probably 80% of my interviews off of MySpace. Just reaching out like, hey, I'm a journalist in Amsterdam. I have no MTV behind me, no Hot 97, no nothing. It was just me pay. Hey, I want to do an interview with you when you come to Amsterdam. Right. They can say no, but I got those. So I wasn't sitting, and then even I sat in lobbies from hotels for hours. Sometimes I didn't get it, and sometimes I did, and then I had to go back the next day. It's persistence. It's that go-getter mentality, and it's not because I look pretty, because there's 1,000 people waiting on interviews. I was just, my approach was professional, and I just kept going at it. And, and if people were really assholes, then I just left it alone. Like, I don't need the internet, because I wasn't getting paid for none of the stuff that I did. This was all a hobby. I was having a job at the time. So there's a very important lesson to what Drawzilla said. Persistence, get your stuff, go after what you want. And really believe in yourself too, man. Just believe in yourself. Know your value. Know your value. Yeah. That's right. That's right. So who were some of your inspirations in the industry? Oh, man. Wow. That's a tough one, man. Are we really talking about, I'll just go into it as far as artists. Everybody from that era, from the what people say kind of the old school era, man. Everybody. We old now. It's old school now. including Eric Sermon. Eric Sermon is probably, that's why when I saw your interview with Eric Sermon, I was glued to it. I was like, but it was funny too. But he called me out a couple times, so I'm still right. Eric is somebody, and it's so crazy because that's one of the few people that I've never met. I know Rock Wild. Really? I know Ty Fife. I know the Twins. I know them, but I never met Eric Sermon, man. I would love to meet him one day. But he's somebody that definitely has been inspiring because of his sound. Right. Because at that particular time when I was coming up, I wanted to create a sound for myself. So when I ran into that sound, I was so inspired by that. Oh, that's great to hear. Right, and exactly. He's a very humble guy, and he remembers everything. As you could tell from the conversation, he remembered how I was eating this steak and whatever. But he's a very, very great person to know, and I'm speaking into existence that you will meet him at some point when Corona is calming down. That's what's up. Talking about, I'm gonna let you make that link. I'll get you to him. I can make that connection instantly because y'all are in New York, so Okay. Talking about you being a go-getter, can you tell me one of your biggest mistakes in this industry that you made that turned out to be a great lesson for you? Thinking that everything is going to come to me. Thinking because I had talent that it was just going to happen. Because we all went through that cocky stage. We all went through that stage of, that entitlement and just automatically assuming that these things was going to happen. I never forget, back to my brother Jay Hatch real quick. I never forget a situation that I had to end up apologizing to him for. But, at that time, he was the one that was kind of helping me trying to get placements, right? So I would send a bunch of records to him. He would go to the record companies or he would send it, whatever. And I wouldn't really hear anything back. And I would be upset about that. I literally would be upset about it. Like, what do you mean you didn't hear nothing back? I'm Drawzilla. What are you talking about? Right? And so I hit him up. I was like, yo, what's going on? He's like, oh, no, I just haven't heard from anything, blah, blah. So, part of it was kind of like blaming other people for my situation's not happening. Right. You know what I mean? Instead of realizing, dummy, that number one, you got to work harder, right? Yeah. Number two, you have to be a little patient.
And you have to realize that everybody's not going to be catering to you, Drawzilla. You got to really understand to build your brand and build your hustle and do what you need to do to get it out on your own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, just understanding that and realizing that, you know, that's when I slowly started to transition into, I need to build a business. I need to build a recording studio. I need to get to a point where I can control this thing instead of waiting on somebody, instead of worrying about, you know, all this. And it comes back to when you asked about, you know, doing projects. Now I do my own projects.
Yeah.
If I want to work with Tek from Smif and Wessun, I just call them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I want to work with, you know, whoever, you know what I mean? I just pick up the phone, yo, you know, what you do, Ella G or, you know, anybody like that. I just reach out. Hey, what's Rock from, you know, Helter Skelter. Hey, Rock, what's good? Yo, I got tracks, you know, for you. You know, and then now I'm starting to really get it. And I'm starting to understand that it's really about, like you said, your value. You know, what can you bring to the table that's going to make people want to work with you? You know?
And timing. Let's not forget timing. Like when we talk about patience, you have to understand that just because somebody says no at the time doesn't mean you can't revisit that. They may be busy with their own projects. They got other stuff going on, and don't be mad at that. You have to support that in order to know that if you support them, they'll come back and support you. You know, that's also the value and the two-way street of building a relationship and supporting each other. Like, don't get mad if somebody doesn't instantly, you know, jump up when you need them. Everybody has their own career.
That's right. They got their own thing going on. You know?
Right. So who is on your list of who you absolutely still want to work with? Who's on your bucket list?
Oh man.
Okay, we have Eric Sermon.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's kind of a tough one because it goes in so many different directions. I see Teravan alive right now. That's somebody that I definitely want to work with too, man. Teravan is somebody that's put out music in the most recent weeks. That's dope, and that's what I mean. Like, it's a lot of artists that people haven't really, you know, kind of heard of or whatever, but more on the underground, you know, aspect.
Yeah.
But you know, obviously him, you know,
name one big one on your bucket list.
Yeah. I mean, the one that I always say that I cannot wait to work with, and I believe that I will one day, is Common.
We're speaking it into existence now. You're going to work with Common. Boom. Right. So if you do, you thank me later.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Like, that's somebody that I've always wanted to work with. And again, I never met him. I never had an opportunity to even talk to him. But
it'll come.
Yeah,
it'll
that's
come.
Gonna happen.
You're working towards it. So what are some of the current projects that you're working on?
So right now I'm doing a solo project. It's an R&B project where I'm doing a lot of singing.
I can't wait to hear it.
Right. That's actually going to come out in February, probably the end of February.
Oh, cool.
I just released a single called "Change for You" that's on all the major platforms right now. I gotta
look that up.
Definitely. I'll send you the link on that as well.
Yes, please.
But yeah, that's the main thing that I'm working on, and then I'm going to be doing a collab album, more of a production album, working with a lot of up and coming artists, and it's going to be called The Global Warming.
Oh, cool.
So, I'm very excited for that one because there's a lot of records that I actually already have, records that I've done a little while ago, including some stuff that I did with rest in peace Fred the Godson.
Right.
So I have a dope record with him, and I'm just excited about that, man, because I know for a fact that I'm going to shock a lot of people with this project.
I can't wait. Are you releasing it independently?
Independently, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Like I said earlier, I'm by myself. I don't
really
have,
well, I need to sidebar you like after this thing, because I got opportunities for you, man. I got opportunities for you. Oh man,
listen, we got to talk.
We'll talk.
Definitely appreciate that. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm here to support, man. I've always been a fan first and foremost, and now I'm in a position where I can actually bring more value to you.
Thank you. Yeah. That's what's up. And that's so crazy, Pay, because like we talked about, we've known each other for a while as far as like the online thing, and I feel like that, you know, it's just been so long, so it's like that's nothing. Anything that you need, I got you. You know what I mean? So never have to worry about that. Yeah.
I appreciate that too. See, it's all timing. Like I said, we've been working on our own things, and we're now put in a place where it makes sense for us to
Right.
do things together. So, and that's patience as well. Like, you don't always have to immediately work or find something to do together. You can just look at each other, see what they're doing, see how they're moving, and then we come at a place where we can work together, because I really do appreciate you seeing what I've done. And that's
definitely.
And I say that because not a lot of people, I mean, they see it, but they don't say it to me. So I don't know what they see. So it really makes me feel good to see that, you know, my work has been noticed as well.
Absolutely.
So thank you for that. And words,
absolutely.
This is what I mean with support.
We kind of did some similar things too, man, because when quarantine hit, you know, just trying to find creative ways of still staying in contact with the people. So for you doing that, man, I definitely applaud that. You know?
Thank you. Yeah, it was literally all out of the passion I have for helping artists and creative people. I have a question from DJ Ease.
Ease.
Who would be? Oh, well, I just pretty much asked that question. But who would be your dream artist to work? You want to work with?
Right, definitely Common. I would say Snoop as well too.
Oh, Snoop. We're speaking that into existence too. You're gonna work with Snoop.
Absolutely, but I'll be honest with you. I know Snoop is kind of like in a different space right now.
Doesn't matter.
I mean, Common is in a way too, but I feel like the connection musically, I feel like Common and I would be able to put something together that's epic.
We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen.
Right. Shout out to DJ East. So
DJ East, thank you for that question. As I see that we're coming towards the end of this hour, I want to ask you, even though you gave so much knowledge and gems and information and advice, what is one of the things that you live by that you want to give out to the people? Like important life motto or, you know.
Right. Look, I would definitely, and I say this all the time, educate yourself. That's it. Educate yourself. Know what you're getting into. Know what the business is all about. Know that things have changed over the years. Things are totally different, especially with streaming and, you know, understanding how to really move records around. You know, educate yourself a lot more. I'm educating myself every single day, you know, because things are changing all the time. But, you know the basics, man. Know how to really, you know, to maneuver, know how to market yourself and everything. And also, know how to talk to people, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Know how to talk to people. There's been so many situations where I've gotten, you know, DMs from people, you know, a simple thing. Oh, sorry about that.
Oh, you're cutting out. What happened? Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Yo, bro, send me some beats. And I'm like, huh? I don't even know you.
Yeah, that's. But it's the same thing with me. Like, I want you to interview me. Who are you? What do you bring to my table? Like,
exactly.
And this is not a platform where you can promote yourself. This is a specific type of series that I'm doing. So you didn't even watch it. Like, go away.
That's right. And it's never us being disrespectful.
No.
It's never us, you know, looking at the situation like, you know, we think we're all that. That's not it at all.
No.
What it is what we talked about. What do you bring into the table?
Right.
Like, what do you say? The approach in that situation with people asking me for beats, the approach should be, you know, hey, what's going on? You don't know who I am, but this is who I am.
Right.
You know, I'm looking to do such and such.
I love your work.
The situation.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, do the research about what somebody's work is about, because people come at me saying, I need marketing. I don't necessarily do marketing. I need you to interview me. I'm a music journalist, but have you looked up what I actually do now? So it's like, don't just in the copy paste. I get copy paste messages, people thinking I'm an artist. Like, hey, you can spread your music here and there. I'm not an artist. Where do I have music? Right. Can you take 5 seconds to look on my Instagram what I do?
Right.
Like, that just deletes. But with me, it's just delete, ignore, delete. I don't have time for that. And that's not being disrespectful, like you said, but they came with disrespect, so I'm just gonna ignore it.
That's right.
But I want to thank you so much for you know, inspiring us and telling me a little bit about what you've been up to. And I'm happy to know that you're better and that you didn't have too much effect from the coronavirus.
Right. Absolutely.
I'm happy to see that you're doing great things. And I'm not necessarily talking about, oh, you're in the billboards. No, just personally, you're doing great things for you, and I applaud that. And you know, the change in you as far as your diet and your business and knowing what you want to do and what you want to educate yourself on. I'm in full support of all of that, and I definitely have some stuff that can help you, I hope. But I will definitely let you know. We'll talk on the side. So I really appreciate you supporting me as much as I support you.
Absolutely, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you having me. You know, and like I said, man, I'm so serious, man. Like, you know, what you've done over quite some time now is definitely inspiring. And I think that a lot of artists, you know, need to really appreciate that. A lot of producers as well need to appreciate that, man, because it's stuff that we don't have. It's platforms that need to be, so that, you know, we can move forward and we can learn from it and you know, do what we have to do.
Yeah,
you know?
that's really what I've been doing all these times. And then on this side of the planet, you know, making sure that everybody has access to certain people that may not be in the top 40, or, you know, or even producers that don't have the names as artists. So yeah, I'm definitely here for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon. Thank you so much. And yeah, have a great rest of your day.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Thank you. All right.
So yeah, that was another amazing, inspiring talk with Drawzilla. It's so good to hear he's doing great things, and I'm just excited to have more of these inspiring people that tell their stories and have advice and information about the industry. I have another great producer coming up on Wednesday, Mr. Full Crate. If you don't know who he is, look him up. He's done amazing music with amazing artists as well. And then I have more people lined up until the end of February already. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. If you have questions for people, you know where to put them. If you have suggestions, you can DM me. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope everybody's safe and staying mentally sane during this lockdown. I will see you guys on Wednesday, same time, same channel. Peace out.